Stage 1 in the south of England should be a sprinter stage. From Reading to Southampton at 140 kilometres, this is the shortest road stage of this year's tour. With 3 hotspot sprints and 2 small Category 3 climbs through the Berkshire and Hampshire countryside, this stage then enters the New Forest before a tight city centre finish in Southampton. After the short, sharp shock of the prologue time trial, this is where the Tour of Britain really gets going. Today they head out onto the open road, though I doubt the cyclists will have much chance to see the sights along the way. Early on, the riders will pass close to Highclere Castle, the largest country house in Hampshire. The route hugs the valley of the River Test for several kilometres, passing through the likes of Whitchurch, which boasts the last working silk mill of its kind in the south of England. From there it's on to the New Forest, which provides the backdrop for the last 60 kilometres. Now, as I've already mentioned, this stage is likely to be won by a sprinter. It's a specialist role within the team, but how exactly do the sprinters differ from the other cyclists on the road?
Sprinters are the type of guys that have not many efforts in them during the race, the ones that just have the power to just be able to sprint as hard as they can for 200 metres in the biggest gear they can, and basically the fastest man at the end wins. And
is there a different training approach for a sprinter? Is there different muscle groups, for instance, that you would work on that perhaps the mountain climbers maybe do?
Yeah, I think power and speed's a lot to do with a successful sprinter. Obviously, you need the endurance to be able to be there at the end to sprint, so basically in training you try to do a 4 or 5 hour ride, and then you go to a little point on the road, find a lamppost 200 metres, and you just try and sprint as hard as you can 2 or 3 times towards that lamppost, and just basically that's what sprinting takes to be successful.
So let's see how stage 1 develops. It could be absolutely crucial because for the last 2 years, whoever has won the opening stage has gone on to win the race.
Well, this is the field just rolling out of Palmer Park in Reading, and there's loads of children turned out to cheer the field on. There's a favourable wind and warm conditions for the run down to Southampton, a distance of 87 miles. There are 2 climbs in the King of the Mountain competition, they are 3rd category, and there are 3 hotspot sprints. So that will set the scene up nicely. This really almost the hors d'oeuvre of the Tour of Britain. Geraint Thomas on the right, just chatting to Mark Cavendish. But once the neutralised flag has been pulled in, the speed will be on for real. He's Cavendish in yellow, and he'll have on his mind those hotspot sprints, because if you get across the line first, you get 3 seconds, 2 for second, 1 for third, and he'll be out to try and add to his lead, which he has established in the time trial. This is the first of the hotspot sprints at Pamber Heath, 7.2 miles into the stage, and you can see that Cavendish is just back there off the wheel of Garrido of Duja Tavera, but it is the speed of Cavendish that takes the 3 seconds ahead of Garrido. So there it is, confirmed. That means that he's gained another 3 seconds. He's in a pretty mean mood. Here's the sprint again, Rob.
Yeah, Mark, you timed it perfectly there, not using too much energy. Obviously the start of the week, but he's really taken this race by the scruff of the neck, and he must be in supreme form.
So we're approaching the first climb now. This is at White Hill, and this is Rabon of T-Mobile. He's a Czech rider, pretty talented, former European road race champion, and František Rabon comes away here to pick up the 4 points in the King of the Mountains contest. So at the moment, T-Mobile are blowing pretty hot. It was Caldiera of Duja Tavera that came over in second spot. Ben Swift of Great Britain was up there, confirmed in third, and Pedersen, last year's winner, fourth to get the 1 point. Sweeping round a left-hander here, high speeds in the beautiful countryside as we're going through the Test Valley and on through the New Forest to Southampton. And 2 riders making a big effort to try and get clear here. This looks like Artecha to me, and Roy Akers of the Skill team. Artecha riding for Fuerteventura Canarias.
I can see the Telecom riders in the back not wanting to take up too much of a chase. They just want to keep a little bit of energy back for later on in the stage.
Bit of a problem at the back here. Puncture, I think a rear wheel puncture.
Looks like Ed Clancy's been riding in the gutter again.
Good spot
he'll
there,
he'll
Rob.
soon get the wheel and be back in the bunch.
So 60 kilometres into the stage. Now, it's an opportunity, of course, for the school children to be released from their lessons. And these are the two leaders now. It's Mikel Artecha from the Fuerteventura team and Pierre Royeckers, a Dutchman riding for skill. I don't think the T-Mobile squad are too bothered about this at the moment. They've got the strength to try and reel them back in. And look, the lead is almost 4 minutes for those two.
The only problem here, Hugh, is we only have teams of 6 riders, so it's very difficult for one team to control the race all on their own.
But T-Mobile are lined out at the front of the field now, so it looks as though they are going to try and reel in the two escapees, because they obviously would like to tee this up for another stage victory. And Artecha is looking across at Royeckers there to say, come on, pal, let's have more contribution to the pace setting.
Telecom are going to know exactly where these two guys are on the road. They're going to get race radio back to them, so they'll be controlling it and just using enough energy just to bring them back as and when.
And they're working well, heading on to Kent's Oak Climb. This is the second counting climb in the King of the Mountains, and it looks very much like Artecha is going to take this. Spaniards love the climbs. Artecha is over first, ahead of Royeckers of Skill Shimano. Now they settle down once again on the descent the other side. This is what it's all about in cycling. They relay each other by sharing the pace setting at the front, then they swing over, and then the next rider takes it on, and that's how they keep the pace high. It's referred to in cycling parlance as bit and bit. Now then, the pressure's on here, Rob, because the field are fragmenting.
You could see the speed of the peloton there. They're all in single file, and the Telecom are working like a donkey.
I don't think he's very interested in the race. He's turned his back on the race. Well, we are, and I'm just waiting to see whether or not T-Mobile are going to pull those leaders back. Yellow jersey Cavendish enjoying the armchair ride as he's been sucked along by his teammates.
And Mark's looking very, very comfortable there. He'll be fairly confident for the finish, but there are some very good sprinters here, so he's going to have to use his team wisely.
Just caught a glimpse of Ian Stannard there, another young rider that's coming through the British ranks, riding on the T-Mobile squad. Good crowds have turned out to support the Tour of Britain. They're loving it, and it's ideal weather for bike racing. This is the last sprint of the day. Who's going to get it? Well, it's obviously going to be Royeckers. Is he going to be Royeckers? Well, a bit of a burst on the banjo there as they got to the line, but it was Royeckers that took the final sprint at Hatchet Pond. Artecha was second. Now then, this is the gallop for third place. Now remember, there is still a second to be grabbed. And this is a fast leader. It looks like Chilingi, who's just had a good ride in the Benelux Tour on the left, but Cavendish has got the extra horsepower to pick up the second, going over the line in third place. So he really is motoring today, is Mark Cavendish.
And yet again, Mark there, just using enough energy just to score the points that he needs.
Well, the leaders are just ahead on the left, but the T-Mobile team have done their job, and they've brought them right up to the breakaway pair of Artecha and Royeckers. So now it's all about setting yourself up for the sprint, and T-Mobile will come to the head of the peloton to look after the interests of Mark Cavendish.
And this is where it gets fairly exciting in the middle of the bunch here. All the sprinters will be getting their riders, placing their teams. Each rider will know exactly where they're supposed to be in the line out, getting their sprinter up to the line as quick as they can.
And of course the reason for the lead out train is to lift the tempo so high that no other team can challenge them.
Exactly, Hugh. It's basically like the pea in the pod, and the P is the sprinter, and the rest of the guys just get them up there and protect them.
Well, they'll be raising the tempo higher and higher, the teammates of Mark Cavendish, and the last one that'll peel off from the front will be Roger Hammond, and then it'll all be down to this fella, Mark Cavendish, in the closing metres to try and tidy up the victory. If he gets it, it'll be his 10th win of the year, and that will put him just one shy of Alessandro Patacchi's record as a first-year professional. Here they come into the finishing straight now, and it's Cavendish leading it out. out, and right alongside him is Kent Hoven of Chocolate Jack, the challenge, but punching the air with delight is Mark Cavendish to win the first road stage from Reading to Southampton and pick up a very useful 10-second bonus to further increase his lead. Terrific piece of sprinting there by Cavendish.
I think Mark will be extremely happy with that. He's stuck all 10 fingers in the air. Yep, number 10. Not bad for a first-year pro.
Another great day for Mark Cavendish, winning the stage in Southampton, thanks to some fine work from his T-Mobile teammates, including Roger Hammond, who finished 4th, Geraint Thomas in 5th, making it 3 British riders in the top 5. Cavendish now with 10 wins in his first pro season on the road.
To be fair, I didn't have to do anything. It was, it was the other 5 riders of the team today who did everything for me. I only had to do the last 100 metres, and the way Roger delivered me, I didn't even have to sprint then. It was perfect effort by the team all day. They rode hard all day on the front. Timed it perfect to get the break back, and then perfect lead out by Roger again. So got one more to get me season target now, and then I'll be happy, man.
So Cavendish with a 14-second advantage over Nikolai Trusov in the general classification, Piet Rujakers of the Netherlands in 3rd. The young Manxman retains the yellow jersey after a terrific team effort into Southampton. The red, white and blue sprint jersey went to Piet Rujakers of Holland, riding for Ski Shimano, a reward for his effort in today's breakaway.
It's my real first jersey in a race, the pro, so it's nice to get it, but the 6 seconds were much more important, so get in the top 10 classification. So.
The king of the mountain competition after the 2 Category 3 climbs is led by T-Mobile's František Rabon, first over White Hill, and of course he led the peloton over Kent's Oak. So Rabon takes the polka dot jersey after stage 1.